You know what the most confusing thing at the moment is? Jumping between recording Disgaea 4 and Kitsune Tales because they have very different control schemes. Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Ekmak, this is Let's Play Kitsune Tales. In the last episode we got to the end of World 1. No we didn't, we got to the end of World 2 because World 1 is the prologue. We got to the end of the world with the Earth Guardian, and it turns out that Kiri is going in to check in on Akko all the time, as opposed... I can't help but wonder why Yuzu didn't do that. Also, we found out that the little crossed swords are probably going to be mid-bosses where we learn a new attack. But also... we don't really need to care about these guys. We have our slash dash. And we do actually get transformations with Kiri. So that's nice. Ooh, maybe that's it. Maybe some of these alternate roads were things that you could only get when you're playing through as Kiri. Now the downside of swimming is that we do actually slightly lose, where am I going with this? We do slightly lose height whenever we swing the sword, so I have to be cautious about that. Secret door? And we still can use her dash. Cool. Jump, little foxling, jump! Oh, I ruined it, but I just realized that the pattern for these coins here had actually been in the shape of a fish. I ruined it. More flippers. So the snorkel is basically the equivalent of the shark costume.
Let's play a game! Behind one door is a useful item. Behind the others a single coin. Which door would you like to open?
Monty Hall problem.
Allow me to reveal the prize behind one of the others, and you can switch or not as you please.
Ooh, we got the cloud. The Monty Hall problem is one of those complicated logical tricks where I know the solution, but it doesn't seem to add up to me. But then also, I think the first time I heard of it, they actually misexplained it. Which is why it didn't quite add up to me. Oh yes, I want that. I think the one downside to this is that while I have explained that yeah, it is cool that we have an alternate version of the game with a completely different control scheme to mix things up, it still feels like it's a bit of a waste of... it still feels a bit like I'm wasting my time with the Let's Play by going through every level twice. Although I say that, but I have actually had the intent, since they released the remaster on Switch 2, I've considered doing Bravely Default, and that's even worse because they actually make you play through the games, I think 4 or 5 different times. And that was one of the biggest complaints, but it didn't bother me then because, well, I'm a Disgaea player. I have no problem with grinding. The problem is on-screen grinding eats a lot of hard drive space. And my computer just keeps losing more and more hard drive space. I personally blame all the gacha games that I keep buying and playing. Well, no, you don't buy gacha games, you buy the pools for gacha games. Yeah, I had a feeling it would just be another pair of flippers. The thing is that... okay, Bravely Default doesn't have very... I don't care much for the main characters of Bravely Default, but I found that quite a few of the villains were actually pretty entertaining. The job system that they had felt pretty well honed. It really engaged that part of your brain that makes you want to focus, that it really makes you feel creative. But there are things people complain about, and the redo is one of them. The fact that it has parts where it sends you through the previous bosses all over again. The first time it's interesting because then you can see what it's like to fight those bosses when they actually have strong stats rather than being the glorified tutorials at the start. Oh dear, I forgot that this area had this. Oh wait, that's a dead end. And the thing is, well, most of the villains are interesting because they're villainous versions of standard Final Fantasy jobs. There are also villains that I absolutely cannot stand. But hey, it's also the only other time we've seen Terra Flare cast in Final Fantasy, or at least Final Fantasy adjacent stuff. The other being frickin' Donald Duck. The funny thing is that Terra Flare is cast by, not the actual true final boss of the game, but the main villain using the final boss's power. I forgot the thing again. I needed to carry a torch all this way in order to find that final door. I was so busy talking about Bravely Default and Final Fantasy. And I have to say that there is actually a really I say nasty, but it's a satisfying level of challenge. The Eternian Job Gauntlet, which honestly isn't that bad. So basically, the Eternian Job Masters. They're the people that you have to beat in order to unlock the new jobs. On a specific pass through the rewrites, through replaying the things, where during one of the last cycles you get, the Eternians all gang together. So you fight them all at each Eternian base, at each of their main areas. You fight them all in groups based on their affinities. So the original 4 that were invading the early area section, dang it, get away from me, you... I'm pretty sure I'm going to need that. But yeah, once you've beaten them out in the open and they've all gathered together, I forget the exact location, but you go there and they're all grouped up in different orders now for... Interestingly, basically, I want to say gimmick, but gimmick makes it sound like it would be easy to break. There are interesting team combinations. So there's one team that's all physical attackers, plus 1 buffer to make sure they all hit even harder than before. There's one team that's focused on heavy defense, so they put up Reflect to keep you from group casting against them. And then it just sort of... It basically ruins everything because single target attacks are going to get countered. Well, actually, I don't know whether a single target, but they put up Reflect, and because they've got such massive health bars, they can just Reflect cast off of you in order to heal them up, because eventually it'll hit the people that need the healing. There was a team of physical attackers, a team based around stocking up BP for strong attacks, but they were sort of an early, this is what was left over, sorry team, so they didn't matter at all. The status ailment spamming team, but the thing about them is that they're actually pretty easily beaten if you simply have a Spirit Master, because a Spirit Master has an ability that has a spell that blocks all ailments. The thing that stands out the most is the Mega Magic team, because it is about a very simple strategy. Put Fire Weak on the heroes, and then spam super high power fire attacks, including summons. Promethean Fire is going to keep flattening you. And it takes such a drastically different team setup to even stand a chance against them. And then when you get to the end of it, you can rematch them, but then there's no breaks. So it's an even harder challenge where you've got to, It's an even harder challenge where you've got to come up with a team that can do everything. I guess you guys weren't Kiri's foxlings, huh? Oh, that was a bad time to lose that extra hit, huh?
You're trying to stop me again?
I have my orders, Kiri.
But you have to know that I'm trying to help Akko, not keep her imprisoned.
What I know or don't know doesn't matter. That's how orders work. Now, will you come peacefully, or do we have to fight again?
I'm not going to surrender just so that you can bring me back to Kamino.
Then we fight. Prepare to face the power of Rising Strike.
So she's got an uppercut attack this time, I guess. Yep! I knew it, and yet I still thought maybe I can just get past it. Ooh! Okay, how are we gonna get past this one then? I see that there's a bit of a problem to this because we don't know which one she's going to use in advance. Okay, don't try to jump over her. Just hit her. Just don't try to move forward when you jump. But also don't let her land on top of you. Okay, I see how this one works at least. Another fox mask, great. Rising strike. Up and C to activate. Ooh, okay, so we can actually chain things together a little bit. So she has a side dash and up slash, and if you kill someone during it, then you get your specials back so you can do it a second time. Cool. We're halfway through, so we might as well keep going. Wrong button! Thank you! I can't wait to lose it on the next enemy I encounter because I'm just very bad at hanging on to things. These are rotten electric eels though. Maybe this'll be... Yeah, I could use that. No, because we remember what happened last time. I was so busy tapping the X button that it lost a hit. I guess I might be doing a little bit better than I did on my first pass.
Let's play a game. Match 2 cards to win prizes. Choose wrong 4 times and the game ends.
A touch better because I do seem to be getting through more of each world than I did on my first pass. Okay, we can at least get a pair of flippers out of this. And a pair of boots. Or one big boot. The streak had to die somewhere. But that's probably the most luck I've had from that card flip minigame yet. Why didn't I use the dash? I appreciate the offer at least, game. Well, shoot. Ran straight into an umbrella. Our Weapon Master friend is actually getting much nastier each time with new tricks, so I worry about what she's going to be like next time we see her. Because already it feels like we're covered under all angles. If she has her forward dash, which we can't beat with our own forward dash, and the rising slash, what else is she gonna throw at us? Although it does feel a bit like she's still training us, but I'm not 100% sure whether it's intentional or not. Oh no, not this room. And we're gonna do it without the extra hit after death. Although I suppose we might have an easier time with those pufferfish and getting over the spikes. Because we have the air dash right. I say that and then I immediately fail on the very first spike. Go there. Right, there's these guys. I forgot they're gonna be making things really awkward. This upward slash is unfortunately not as easy to perform as I'd like it to be. I actually heard the sound effect of the slash. Poor dash timing. At least we have that. At least we can take care of those pufferfish. But we don't get extra hits like this. So I don't know whether you could hear that bird in the background. I just always figured those are just birds that are around and never bothered looking up things about them. But of late I was curious about Australian magpies, and apparently that's the cry of an Australian magpie, so I have magpies around. Cool. Although if you've seen Morpaza's stuff, then the idea of having magpies around is a little bit concerning since they do like to swoop people. But I think that's only during swooping season, and seeing as I stay primarily indoors, I shouldn't have to worry about that. I'll get this one sooner or later. Whoops! Yeah, like that one took so much more time on the first try. Please be the flippers and snorkel, thank you. I feel like with that, this might actually be too good of a movement because it feels like I accelerate a touch too fast and nearly bump into things. No, I don't want to test to see whether I can use the sword to kill these eels. I get the feeling that I'd just end up losing my flippers for my trouble. Frick! Stage clear. Sure, whatever. So this is one. Honestly, we are at half an hour right now. We can start next episode by fighting him, but yeah, we are actually blitzing through the game pretty quickly. But it's also still the early game, so I don't know how long that's going to last. Oh well, until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around.